The Awakening. In the vast emptiness of space, a fleet of sleek warships emerged from the shadow of a gas giant. Their hulls gleamed with an otherworldly sheen, a testament to technology far beyond anything the galaxy had seen before. On the bridge of the flagship, Nemesis, Admiral Sarah Chen stood tall, her eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. "Status report," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of preparation. "All systems operational." "Admiral," replied her XO, Commander Jackson. "The fleet is ready." Sarah nodded, a grim smile playing on her lips. 3,000 years, she murmured. 3,000 years we've waited for this moment. The bridge crew worked silently, each member acutely aware of the historic significance of this day. They were the descendants of Earth's survivors, those who had escaped the devastating attack by the Galactic Council millennia ago. For generations, humanity had hidden in the darkest corners of the galaxy, rebuilding, evolving, and planning their return. "Admiral," called out the communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from Haven Prime." "Put it through," Sarah ordered. A hologram flickered to life, revealing the weathered face of President Ilara Vance. "Admiral Chen, the day has finally come. Are we ready to reveal ourselves to the galaxy?" Sarah straightened, her resolve evident in every line of her body. "Yes, Madam President. The Nemesis fleet stands ready. We will show the Galactic Council that humanity is not just alive, but stronger than ever." Ilara nodded solemnly. "Remember, Admiral, our goal is justice, not blind vengeance. We must be better than those who sought to destroy us." "Understood, Madam President. We'll make Earth proud." As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to her crew. "Set course for the Arcturus system. It's time to announce our return to the galaxy." The Nemesis fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, leaving behind the hidden outposts that had sheltered humanity for centuries. Their destination, a bustling trade hub on the fringes of Galactic Council space. Days later, the fleet dropped out of FTL on the outskirts of the Arcturus system. The crew gasped at the sight before them. Hundreds of alien ships swarmed around a massive space station, its spiral arms stretching out like a metallic flower. "Tactical analysis," Sarah commanded. Commander Jackson studied his console. "Minimal military presence, Admiral. Mostly merchant vessels and passenger liners. The station's defenses are formidable, but nothing our fleet can't handle." Sarah nodded. "Good. Prepare to broadcast on all frequencies. It's time to introduce ourselves." As the Nemesis fleet moved closer to the station, alarms blared across Arcturus. Panic spread through the alien vessels as they scrambled to make sense of the unknown armada approaching them. Sarah took a deep breath and activated the comms. Her face appeared on screens throughout the system as she began to speak. "Attention, citizens of the Galactic Council. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Reclamation Fleet. 3,000 years ago, your predecessors committed an unforgivable act of genocide against my people. They believed they had wiped us out, erasing humanity from the galaxy." She paused, letting her words sink in. "They were wrong. We survived. We endured. And now we have returned to claim the justice that has been denied to us for millennia." Across the Arcturus system, beings of all species watched in stunned silence as Sarah continued. "We do not seek war with all. Our quarrel is with the Galactic Council alone. To the innocent citizens of the galaxy, we offer a choice. Stand with us in our fight for justice, or stand aside. But to the Council, we offer only this warning. Your reckoning has come." As Sarah's transmission ended, the Nemesis fleet took up defensive positions around the station. Aboard the alien vessels, confusion turned to fear, and then to a grudging respect. Humanity, a species thought long dead, had returned with technology that outclassed anything in known space. On the Nemesis, Sarah turned to her crew. "And so it begins," she said softly. "May we be worthy of those we lost." As news of humanity's return spread across the galaxy at the speed of light, The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. In their grand hall on the capital world of Tenora Prime, representatives of 100 alien races argued and debated. High Counselor Zax Trull, a towering insectoid being, called for order. Silence. He chittered, his mandibles clacking in agitation. This threat must be contained before it spreads. We must strike now, while the humans are still concentrated in one system. But Counselor Lyrith, an ethereal creature of pure energy, disagreed. We cannot repeat the mistakes of the past. Our ancestors' actions led to this moment. Perhaps diplomacy. Diplomacy, interrupted Counselor Grax, his reptilian scales flushing with anger. Did you not hear their declaration? They seek vengeance, not peace. As the council devolved into chaos, a junior aide rushed in, his tentacles writhing in distress. High Counselor, we've lost contact with the Arcturus system. All attempts at communication have failed. A hush fell over the chamber as the implications sank in. Humanity had not just revealed itself, it had struck its first blow. Back in the Arcturus system, Sarah Chen surveyed the fruits of their first victory. The space station, now under human control, buzzed with activity as her troops secured strategic positions and gathered intelligence. Admiral, reported Commander Jackson, we've successfully isolated the system. Our quantum entanglement disruptors are blocking all outgoing communications. Sarah nodded, pleased. Excellent. And the civilian population? Scared, but compliant. Our assurances of safety seem to be holding for now. Good. Prepare a delegation. It's time we started making some allies in this galaxy. The Council will respond soon, and we'll need all the help we can get. As Sarah turned back to the viewport, she allowed herself a moment of reflection. The first move had been made, the opening gambit in a game 3 millennia in the making. But this was just the beginning. In the depths of space, more human fleets emerged from hiding, ready to carry out their part in the grand strategy. The war to reclaim humanity's place in the galaxy had begun, and the stars themselves would tremble in its wake. First strike. The Galactic Council's response to humanity's sudden reappearance was swift but disorganized. Fleets from various member species converged on the Arcturus system, a hodgepodge of ships with conflicting strategies and command structures. This lack of cohesion played right into Admiral Chen's hands. As the Council Armada approached, Sarah stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, her face impassive. Status of Operation Trojan Horse. Commander Jackson consulted his tactical display. All units report ready, Admiral. The bait is set. Sarah nodded, a grim smile playing on her lips. Then let's spring the trap. The human fleet, seemingly outnumbered, began a fighting retreat from the Arcturus system. The Council forces, emboldened by what they perceived as weakness, gave chase. What they didn't know was that they were being led into a carefully prepared ambush. As the pursuit entered a dense asteroid field, Sarah gave the command. Activate the gravity wells. Hidden devices scattered throughout the asteroid sprang to life, creating localized distortions in spacetime. The Council ships, their faster-than-light drives suddenly useless, found themselves trapped and vulnerable. All ships, engage. Sarah ordered. The human fleet turned on their pursuers, unleashing a barrage of advanced weaponry. Plasma torpedoes and quantum disruptors tore through the enemy's defenses. Swarms of AI-controlled fighter drones overwhelmed their targets with precision strikes. On board the Council flagship, High Admiral Zorlak of the Therixian Empire watched in horror as his fleet was decimated. Impossible, he muttered, his tentacles writhing in agitation. How can they possess such technology? The battle was over in minutes. The once mighty Council Armada was reduced to floating debris and disabled ships. Sarah's voice echoed across all frequencies. To the surviving Council forces, you are defeated. Surrender, and you will be treated fairly under the laws of war. Resist, and you will be destroyed. One by one, the remaining Council ships powered down their weapons. The first major engagement of the war had ended in a resounding victory for humanity. In the aftermath of the battle, Sarah convened a meeting with her senior staff. "This victory will buy us time," she began, "but we can't afford to become complacent. The Council will regroup and come at us with everything they have." Commander Jackson nodded in agreement. "We should press our advantage while we can. Hit them before they have a chance to organize a proper defense." "Agreed," Sarah said, "but we need to be strategic. Our next target needs to hurt them where it counts." She pulled up a galactic map, zooming in on a particular system. "Here, Noveria Prime." A murmur went through the assembled officers. Noveria Prime was one of the Council's most important worlds, a hub of research and development for their military technology. "If we can capture Noveria Prime," Sarah continued, "we'll gain access to their latest advancements and cripple their ability to innovate. Plus, it'll send a message. Nowhere in Council space is safe from us." As the human fleet made preparations for their next assault, news of their victory spread across the galaxy. On countless worlds, those who had suffered under the Council's rule began to see humanity as potential liberators. Underground resistance movements, long suppressed, found new hope in the human success. On Haven Prime, the hidden homeworld of the reborn human civilization, President Ilara Vance addressed her people. "Today, we have shown the galaxy that humanity is not just a memory, but a force to be reckoned with. Our victory at Arcturus is just the beginning. We fight not just for vengeance, but for a future where all species can live free from the Council's tyranny." The speech was met with thunderous applause, but not everyone shared in the enthusiasm. Dr. Ariana Cole, one of Haven's leading xenoanthropologists, worried about the path her people were taking. "We're making the same mistakes the Council did," she argued in a heated debate with military leaders. "We're using our technological superiority to impose our will on others. How does that make us any better than those who destroyed Earth?" Her words fell on deaf ears. The momentum of war had taken hold, and few were willing to question their course now that victory seemed within reach. As the human fleet approached Noveria Prime, they encountered something unexpected. A makeshift flotilla of civilian ships blocking their path. Aboard were representatives from dozens of species, all former victims of the Council's oppression. A transmission came through to the Nemesis. On the screen appeared a Xylaxian, his crystalline form shimmering with nervous energy. "Greetings, humans. I am Zintor, spokesperson for the Free People's Alliance. We've come to offer our assistance in your fight against the Council." Sarah was taken aback, but quickly regained her composure. "We appreciate your offer, Zintor, but this is a dangerous battleground. We can't guarantee your safety." The Xylaxian's crystalline features hardened with determination. "We've lived under the Council's boot for too long. If there's a chance to be free, we're willing to take that risk. We may not have your advanced technology, but we know Council space. We can provide intelligence, supply lines, even recruits for your cause." Sarah considered the offer. This could change the entire dynamic of the war. "Very well," she said finally. "Welcome to the fight." As the combined fleet of humans and aliens approached Noveria Prime, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of irony. Humanity had returned to the stars seeking vengeance, only to find themselves at the head of a diverse coalition fighting for freedom. The battle for Noveria Prime would be the true test of this newfound alliance. As the planet grew larger in the view screen, Sarah steeled herself for the challenges ahead. The war was evolving in ways none had anticipated, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. On Noveria Prime, alarms blared as the planet's defenders scrambled to meet the incoming threat. But as they prepared for battle, seeds of doubt began to take root. The humans, long thought extinct, had returned with godlike technology and a burning desire for justice. And they were not alone. The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. As her fleet moved into attack formation, Sarah Chen uttered a quiet prayer to the memory of Earth. "Guide us," she whispered, "in victory and in justice." The battle for Noveria Prime was about to begin. The battle for Noveria Prime. The skies above Noveria Prime erupted in a dazzling display of destructive force as the human-led coalition engaged the planet's defenses. Admiral Sarah Chen's strategy was multi-pronged. While the main fleet drew the attention of the Noverian forces, smaller, stealthier ships slipped through the chaos, carrying elite teams of human and alien commandos. On the bridge of the Nemesis, Sarah watched the battle unfold with intense concentration. "Status report," she barked. Commander Jackson responded quickly. "Our main force is holding strong, Admiral. The Noverian fleet is fully engaged. Stealth teams report successful planetfall." Sarah nodded, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "Good. Now we wait for Phase 2. On the surface of Noveria Prime, the infiltration teams moved swiftly through the sprawling research complexes. Their objective: to capture key scientists and secure vital data on the Council's latest military technology. Leading one of these teams was Major Kira Yoshida, a hardened veteran of humanity's covert operations. Alongside her was Zintor, the Salaxian representative who had pledged his people's support. "The main database should be just ahead," Kira whispered, her pulse rifle at the ready. "Zintor, can you bypass their security?" The crystalline alien's form shimmered with anticipation. "With pleasure, Major. Their systems are good, but not good enough." As Zintor interfaced with the Noverian computer, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. "We've been detected," Kira shouted. "Everyone, defensive positions." The team braced for combat as the sounds of approaching security forces echoed through the corridors. But what happened next took everyone by surprise. Instead of hostile fire, a voice called out in a language none of them recognized. Zintor's crystalline form vibrated as he translated. "They're surrendering." Indeed, a group of Noverian scientists and security personnel emerged with their appendages raised in a universal gesture of submission. One of them, clearly a lead researcher, stepped forward and spoke again. Zintor translated. "He says they've been waiting for an opportunity like this. Many here have grown disillusioned with the Council's warmongering. They want to defect." Kira was skeptical but intrigued. "Tell them we'll consider their request if they give us full access to their research data." As this scene played out across multiple facilities on Noveria Prime, the space battle above took an unexpected turn. A significant portion of the Noverian fleet suddenly powered down their weapons and opened communication channels with the human ships. On the Nemesis, Sarah received the startling news. "Admiral," Jackson reported, "we're getting messages from Noverian ships. They're asking for asylum." Sarah's eyes widened in surprise. This was an unforeseen development, but one she could use to her advantage. Accept their surrender, but keep a close eye on them. This could be a trick. As the battle died down, it became clear that Noveria Prime had fallen not just to military might, but to a revolution from within. The planet's population, long suppressed by the Council's regime, saw the human-led attack as an opportunity for liberation. In the following days, as human and allied forces secured the planet, Sarah found herself in a series of tense negotiations. The defecting Noverian scientists offered a wealth of advanced technology in exchange for protection and a place in the new order that was forming. Dr. Ariana Cole, the xenoanthropologist who had earlier expressed concerns about the war's direction, was brought in to help facilitate these delicate talks. "We need to be careful," she warned Sarah. "Accepting these defectors could be seen as an escalation by the Council. We're not just defeating them militarily now. We're dismantling their society from within." Sarah nodded, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. "I understand the risks, Doctor, but we can't afford to turn away potential allies, especially ones with such valuable knowledge." As news of Noveria Prime's fall spread across Council space, the reaction was one of shock and disbelief. The Council's carefully maintained image of invincibility was shattered. On countless worlds, whispers of rebellion began to grow louder. High Counselor Zach Stroll called an emergency session, his mandibles clicking furiously. This is no longer just a military threat. He chittered to the assembled representatives. The humans are inciting revolution across our territories. We must respond with overwhelming force. But not all were convinced. Councillor Lirith, the energy being who had earlier advocated for diplomacy, spoke up. Perhaps it's time we considered the root causes of this conflict. Our predecessors' actions against Earth were a grave injustice. Maybe it's time we sought a peaceful resolution. The council chamber erupted into heated debate. The unity that had held the Galactic Council together for millennia was beginning to fracture under the pressure of humanity's return. Back on Noveria Prime, as Sarah oversaw the integration of their new allies and the analysis of captured technology, she received an unexpected message. It was from President Ilara Vance on Haven Prime. Admiral, Ilara's hologram flickered to life, her expression grave. We've received a transmission from the Galactic Council. They're requesting a ceasefire and proposing peace talks. Sarah's mind raced with the implications. Was this a genuine offer or a ploy to buy time? And after all humanity had suffered, were they ready to consider peace? As she pondered these questions, Sarah gazed out at the bustling activity on Noveria Prime. Humans worked alongside a diverse array of alien species, united in their desire for a better future. The war had already evolved far beyond a simple quest for vengeance. Madam President, Sarah said finally, I think we should hear them out. But we negotiate from a position of strength. The Council needs to understand that the galaxy will never be the same again. As preparations began for this historic meeting, tensions remained high. The fate of not just humanity, but countless species across the galaxy hung in the balance. The next moves would determine whether the future held continued conflict or the promise of a new era of cooperation. The battle for Noveria Prime was over, but the struggle for the soul of the galaxy was just beginning. Diplomatic tensions and hidden agendas. The neutral space station, Harmony's Reach, hung in the void between Council and human-controlled space, its gleaming spires a testament to the hope for peaceful resolution. As delegations from both sides arrived, the atmosphere was tense with anticipation and suspicion. Admiral Sarah Chen led the human delegation, accompanied by President Ilara Vance, Dr. Ariana Cole, and representatives from their new alien allies. The Council's group was headed by High Counselor Zach Stroll, flanked by a diverse array of species, some familiar, others utterly alien to human eyes. As the two sides faced each other across the negotiating table, Sarah couldn't help but feel the weight of history on her shoulders. This moment would shape the future of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. President Vance opened the proceedings, her voice steady and resolute. We come here today not just as the representatives of humanity, but as the voice for all those who have suffered under the Council's oppressive rule. Our goal is not endless war, but justice and a new era of true galactic cooperation. High Counselor Zach Stroll's mandibles clicked in agitation before he spoke. The Council acknowledges the regrettable actions of our predecessors against Earth. But surely, after 3,000 years, we can move beyond past grievances. We propose an immediate ceasefire in recognition of humanity's right to exist, in exchange for a halt to your military campaigns. Sarah's eyes narrowed. The offer seemed too easy, too convenient. She glanced at Dr. Cole, who gave a subtle nod, confirming her suspicions. Your offer is noted, High Counselor, Sarah replied coolly. But it fails to address the root issues that led to this conflict. What about the other species you've oppressed? What about the corrupt system that allowed such atrocities to occur in the first place? The negotiations continued for days, with heated debates and tense standoffs. Progress was slow, but gradually both sides began to find common ground. The Council, realizing the extent of support for the human-led coalition, agreed to reforms and reparations for affected species. However, as the talks neared their conclusion, Dr. Cole made a disturbing discovery. Analyzing data from Noveria Prime, she uncovered evidence of a hidden faction within the Council, one that had been manipulating events from the shadows for millennia. In a private meeting with Sarah and President Vance, Ariana revealed her findings. "They call themselves the Eternals," she explained, her voice low. "A group of ancient beings who've been guiding the Council's actions for eons. They were behind the destruction of Earth, and they've been manipulating species against each other to maintain their power." Sarah's fists clenched in anger. So this whole peace negotiation could be just another one of their plots. Ilara nodded grimly. "It's possible. But exposing them now could derail any chance of peace. We need to tread carefully." As the final day of negotiations dawned, Sarah made a fateful decision. During her closing statement, she revealed the existence of the Eternals to both the Council and human delegations. The chamber erupted into chaos. Many council members reacted with shock and disbelief, while others showed signs of guilty knowledge. High Councilor Zaxtral's composure cracked, his mandibles chittering rapidly in what seemed like barely contained panic. Amidst the uproar, a figure at the back of the council delegation began to change. Its form shifted and grew, revealing a being of pure energy, ancient beyond measure. The Eternal spoke, its voice resonating with power. "Foolish children," it boomed. "Did you think your petty conflicts mattered? We are the shepherds of this galaxy, guiding it towards a greater purpose you cannot comprehend." As security forces from both sides moved to confront the Eternal, it vanished in a blinding flash of light. In its wake, it left a warning. The game is not over. It has merely entered a new phase. The revelation of the Eternal's existence shattered the fragile peace talks, but it also did something unexpected. It united the human coalition and many within the Council against a common enemy. In the days that followed, as both sides grappled with this new reality, alliances shifted. Many Council worlds, learning the truth about their history, pledged support to the human-led coalition. Others, fearing change, dug in their heels and prepared for continued conflict. Sarah found herself at the center of a galactic revolution, far beyond the scope of the vengeance she had originally sought. As she gazed out at the stars from the observation deck of Harmony's Reach, she realized that humanity's true test was just beginning. "We came seeking justice for Earth," she murmured to herself. "Now we're fighting for the future of every sentient being in the galaxy." As reports came in of eternal activity across multiple sectors, Sarah knew that the coming conflict would dwarf anything they had faced before. But as she watched human and alien crew members working side by side, she felt a glimmer of hope. The galaxy was changing, and humanity, once thought extinct, was now at the forefront of its transformation. The war for vengeance had become a battle for the very soul of the cosmos. As Sarah turned to leave, ready to face the challenges ahead, she allowed herself a small smile. Whatever the Eternals had planned, whatever trials lay ahead, humanity and its allies would face them together. The stars themselves would bear witness to their resolve. The next phase of the galactic saga was about to begin, and this time, humanity would help write its ending. The cosmic endgame. The revelation of the Eternal's existence sent shockwaves through the galaxy. What had begun as humanity's quest for vengeance had evolved into a struggle for the freedom of all sentient beings. Admiral Sarah Chen found herself at the helm of the most diverse coalition the galaxy had ever seen. Humans, former council races, and even some of the more progressive council factions themselves. As reports of eternal activity flooded in from across the stars, Sarah convened an emergency meeting aboard the Nemesis. The ship's war room was packed with representatives from dozens of species, all united by a common purpose. "The Eternals have gone to ground," Sarah began, her voice grave. "But our intelligence suggests they're gathering their forces for a major offensive. We need to strike first." Dr. Ariana Cole, now the Coalition's chief xenoanthropologist and eternal expert, stepped forward. "We analyzed the data from Novaria Prime and other eternal sightings. We believe we've located their home base, a massive space station hidden in the heart of the Andromeda Nebula." A murmur ran through the assembled leaders. The Andromeda Nebula was notoriously difficult to navigate, filled with deadly radiation and unpredictable gravitational anomalies. Zintor, the Xylaxian representative, spoke up. "My people have legends of the nebula. We always believed it to be the realm of gods. Perhaps we weren't far off." Sarah nodded grimly. "Gods or not, they bleed like the rest of us. We've beaten them before. We'll do it again." The coalition spent weeks preparing for the assault. Ships were retrofitted with experimental shielding to withstand the nebula's dangers. New weapons were developed, drawing on the combined scientific knowledge of 100 worlds. As the massive fleet assembled on the edge of the nebula, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the sight. Ships of all shapes and sizes, each representing a different species or culture, all united under a single banner. It was a far cry from the vengeful human armada she had led out of hiding mere months ago. The journey into the nebula was treacherous. Ships were battered by intense radiation and gravitational shears. But slowly, steadily, they pressed on. And then, emerging from the cosmic mists, they saw it, the eternal citadel. It was a structure of impossible scale and beauty, a swirling mass of energy and matter that seemed to defy the laws of physics. But there was no time to admire it. As soon as the coalition fleet was detected, the citadel's defenses sprang to life. The battle that ensued was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. The Eternals wielded energies that could snuff out stars, while the coalition countered with technologies born from the combined intellect of 1,000 worlds. Sarah's voice rang out across the comms, steady and determined. "All ships, engage as planned. Remember what we're fighting for, not just for those we've lost, but for all who will come after us." The space around the citadel became a maelstrom of energy weapons, gravitational distortions, and ships locked in mortal combat. Fighters darted between capital ships, their pilots pushing the limits of skill and technology. On the Nemesis, Sarah coordinated the assault, her mind racing to adapt to the Eternals' otherworldly tactics. "Concentrate fire on Sector 7, she ordered. That energy fluctuation could be a weak point. As the battle raged, a small team led by Dr. Cole and Zintor managed to infiltrate the citadel itself. Fighting their way through reality-warping corridors, they sought the citadel's central core, the source of the Eternals' power. Back in space, the tide of battle began to turn. The Coalition's diverse tactics and technologies were overwhelming the Eternals' defenses, but victory came at a heavy cost. Hundreds of ships had been destroyed, countless lives lost in the cosmic firestorm. Inside the citadel, Ariana and Zintor finally reached the core chamber. There, they confronted the Elder Eternal, a being of pure energy and unfathomable age. "Why?" Ariana demanded, her voice echoing in the vast chamber. "Why manipulate us? Why cause so much suffering?" The Elder's voice resonated not in air, but in their very minds. "Order," it intoned. "For millions of years, we maintained the balance of the cosmos. Without our guidance, chaos would reign." Zintor's crystalline form shimmered with anger. "You call this order? Billions have died because of your machinations. A small price for cosmic harmony," the Elder replied. "But you have proven yourselves worthy successors. Perhaps it is time for a new order to rise." With those words, the Elder began to dissipate, its energy spreading throughout the citadel. The structure began to shake, energy tendrils reaching out to touch each member of the Coalition fleet. On the Nemesis, Sarah watched in awe as knowledge flooded her mind. The secrets of the universe, the power the Eternals had wielded for eons. She realized that the Elder's final act was not one of destruction, but of transition. As the citadel collapsed in on itself, the Coalition fleet retreated to safe distance. The Andromeda Nebula lit up with an explosion of cosmic energy, visible across half the galaxy. In the aftermath, as the Coalition fleet limped home, the full implications of their victory became clear. The power of the Eternals had not been destroyed, but distributed. Each species now held a fragment of cosmic knowledge, a responsibility to help shape the future of the galaxy. Months later, on a rebuilt Earth, the first act of the new Galactic Alliance, Sarah stood before a vast crowd of humans and aliens alike. As she prepared to address them, she reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. They had come seeking vengeance for a long-dead world, only to find a future brighter than any could have imagined. The galaxy was entering a new age, one of cooperation and shared wisdom. Sarah took a deep breath and began to speak. Today, we stand not as conquerors, not as victims, but as guardians. We have been given a great power and an even greater responsibility. The age of the Eternals is over. The age of unity has begun. As cheers erupted from the assembled beings, Sarah gazed up at the stars. Humanity had returned to the galactic stage in force, but not in the way anyone had expected. Their quest for vengeance had led them to something far greater, a chance to forge a new destiny for all sentient beings. The stars twinkled above, holding the promise of new adventures, new challenges, and a future limited only by their collective imagination. The story of humanity's return was over, but the saga of the new Galactic Alliance was just beginning.